Hi everybody. Another tool that we use for analysis is something called moving average. And the moving average allows us to kind of get an idea if our current numbers that we have, maybe month over month numbers, if they're really as bad or are they really as good as we think they are in comparison to the previous numbers. All right. So let's take a look at this, and I think once you see it coming together, you'll get an idea of how you might be able to use this. But you'll find this used a lot, like in with stocks. You hear the stock report, and they'll say that such and such stock is at the price is at its 200-day moving average. It's actually below the moving average, or it's above its 50-day moving average, and with that type of information, you sort of get an idea: is it really a bad number, or is it a good number? So basically, if it says the price is above the moving average, that might be good. If the price is below the moving average, then that might not be good, depending. And then it depends if it's a 50-day, 100-day, 200-day moving average. Different interpretations, come into play. But overall, the moving average gives you an idea of really kind of where your numbers are at. Okay, so what we have here are air traffic patterns in Maui, and we're going to be doing and these are the actual numbers here, but we're going to go and do a 3-month and a 6-month moving average on it to see exactly where those numbers really are at. Are they good or bad, depending on where we are in the year? And we actually have 2 years of numbers here. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into the Data tab, and we're going to click on to Data Analysis, and we'll see our moving average. We'll hit OK on that. And the first thing it wants to know is where is your input? Where are the numbers that you're going to be analyzing? Well, in this case, the input range will be from here to there, just like that. And we're going to be doing a 3-month moving average to start out with, so our interval is going to be 3. And we're going to put the moving averages starting at January, right? And we definitely want a chart, so we're going to leave that alone there. We'll hit OK, and there we go. So let me take this graph here, and I'm going to drag it out a little bit, out to about maybe about there. Bring it down a little bit. Now, before I explain all this, I'm going to fix the graph a little bit here. So I'm going to click onto the graph itself here, go back into Design, go to my Select Data, and what I need to do is reselect everything here. So I need to get this area selected. I'll hold down my Control key and select this area here, and then select the moving average that we have there. There we go. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Then one other little thing, what's happened with the graph too, is that because I've got these listed as just months up there, formatted as months, it's kind of combining the January and the January together as one. Same thing with February. So what I need to do, a very quick, easy thing to do, is I just double-click the x-axis here. A little panel comes up, and I set this to be text. And there we go. And you can kind of see how that actually did kind of change the graph a little bit too when you did that. All right, anyway, so there it is. So what are we looking at here? Well, what it's showing is that the actual numbers that are in row 3 here are in blue, and you can see how they're spiking up and down and all over the place. So one thing to think about is, are all these numbers relatively good in a way? Well, if the number is above the moving average, that's probably a good thing. If the number is below the moving average, like it is here in July, as well as in April as well, then that might not be a good thing. All right. But the other thing it allows us to do is looking over at the whole thing here, you get a sense of what it might be come January. All right. Well, if you looked at the regular graph of the regular numbers here, the blue, you would probably say to yourself, well, it looks like maybe January will be up a bit, you know, pretty good angle there, right? But if you look at the moving average, it's pretty much flat, if anything, all right? So that's two different things, and it's like, which one do you look at? And statistically wise, you probably would look at the 3-month moving average and say to yourself, okay, instead of it maybe spiking in January, it's probably going to be pretty much flat, you know, in comparison for next year. When you look at the numbers in the worksheet here, you can see that in March, the actual number is 36, but the moving average is 38. So technically, in a way, March is not a good number. March is actually a little bit low compared to the average of the last, you know, 3 months, or the past 2 months, I should say, right? So just kind of an interesting look on things. But overall, what this is really meant to do is try to give you an idea of where, you know, what it would look like, you know, further out. And also, when you look at your individuals here, you get a sense of, well, it looks like a lot of these months, especially all these over here, are below the moving average. Whether it's good or bad, you know, that's up to the person looking at the numbers to determine, but I would say overall it would be bad. All right, let's try this again now. This time we're going to do it with the 6-month moving average, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into data, go to our analysis, moving average, hit OK, and here we're going to set this for 6. So we're still going to have the same range, input range, 6-month, and then the output range is going to be here, okay? You have a chart and everything. So we hit OK. Okay, there's our chart. Let me move that over to here. I'm going to expand it out a little bit. And it pretty much suffers from the same thing the last one did. So while I'm on it, I'll go back into design. I'll go to my select data. And this time I'm going to be doing these two. And hold on my control key. And then we'll do the 6-month numbers. Just like that. There we go. Hit OK. And then I'll just do a double click on these guys here. And tell it to look at it as just text, and that'll get it all straightened out. There we go. All right, so now you look at this one. You look at the 6-month. So the 6-month moving average sort of almost like lowered it in a lot of cases, or in some of the cases lowered it. In other cases, it upped it a little bit compared to the 3-month. But you look at this one, and you get a sense of, well, in this for the 3-month. It looks like it's almost like flatlining, right? But for the 6-month moving average, when we're taking into account the 6-month averages, then it looks like we're looking like we're going down. Whereas if we looked at the regular numbers, which are in blue, which is this row here, it looks like it's going up. So somebody looking at this just with the blue would say, looks like it'll probably be going up next month, right? Whereas now with that 6-month moving average, it looks like there's a tendency of it going down. So which one do you believe? That's the thing, and that's really the big guess, right? And people that have been using this for a while, they've been doing this for year over year over year, they might say that I've gotten a better clue when it comes to the 6-month over the 3-month or vice versa. So that's where that comes into play. But overall, it just gives you a sense of really where things are going. And also, to give you a sense of, compared to a 3-month average or a 6-month average, where are these numbers? Below average, above average, what have you. So, pretty slick little analysis, but maybe hopefully something that you guys can use. I appreciate you watching the video. Take care.